I'm Michelle Efren. I'm from ME Music Center in Bandung, Indonesia, and now I'm with Mark Gibson from Australia. He's from Encore Music Education. It's so good to see you again, Mark.
Great to see you, Michelle. It's been a number of years since I've actually been to Bandung in person, but with technology like this, well, it's almost as though we're next door.
Well, today we're going to discuss about a lot of stuff, and one of the things that really got me is about how music is very important for our children at the moment. ME Music Center had the opportunity to use the Encore Music Education System for 14 years now, and I really see how the kids is really growing to be a better musician and also a better person. But by looking at the world trend right now in education and changes brought about by the current pandemic, how important is it music education for our children at the moment?
Well, I think it's become even more important. And look, not just for children, but I also think adults. And what I found rather interesting is some weeks ago I had to go and invest in a new music stool because the one I was using broke. And I spoke to the music retailer, a local fellow in Brisbane, and he said that during March and April, and I think May as well, he had some of his
Yeah.
best sales figures ever, which was just
Wow.
extraordinary. I couldn't believe it. I was expecting the opposite. And he said so many people were investing in musical instruments because with the lockdowns, with the pandemic, they really wanted to enrich their lives. And
Right.
instead of just sort of going for computer games or, press a button and don't think about it, they were really going for things such as music, where they're actually learning something and there's personal enrichment at the same time. And
Right.
for me, I thought that was such a positive. I wasn't expecting that to be one of the outcomes. The other thing that I've experienced, particularly, I've had to do some online teaching with the advent of the pandemic, and I
Right.
could tell that with a number of students, it was very important for them to continue their music lessons because music is one of the most important aesthetics that we have in our human existence. And
True.
music has this transcendental element that sort of goes beyond the here and now. It goes beyond sometimes what we can even describe in words. And it's such a personal thing. And it's also an escape mechanism too for children because you can do things in the musical world you can't do anywhere else.
Right. True.
And you can do more if you're learning it as opposed to just listening. Now, listening to music is fantastic too. And it's interesting how much music is used in therapies, but music is like a natural therapy just in itself. So I think in
Yeah.
the current pandemic, if you really want the best therapy, then music's probably the place to go, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I mean, like by looking at everything is now online, everything is like really computerized, and like when you really need something like really genuine, like really come from ourselves to express ourselves without like any kind of the technology or like computer or anything like that. So which is I can really feel that music is really allowing you to actually how to explain it, like to actually express yourself in a very genuine way.
Look, you're absolutely right, and that's one of the things in music that's difficult to quantify. But there are so many students I've taught over the years who express themselves through music in ways that they could never have done through any other means. And I can think of a few students in particular who were very quiet students, but also very talented. And
Right.
when they played, they were anything but quiet. When they played, they really told us so much about themselves that we would otherwise never have known. And
True.
the other thing I even find through teaching is sometimes I think parents, oddly enough, find out more about their children when they learn a musical instrument than if they didn't learn a musical instrument. They discover so many things. That's why I like it. If it's possible for the parent to be present in some lessons, they will learn more things about their child that they really didn't know before.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, like it's really through music you really can read someone's personality. Like it's really show who you really are. Like when you play, and it doesn't cover anything. Like it's just so pure, and the process itself, like it's really like I said before in the previous opening. Like I said, it built our kids to be a better person as well, not just as a musician.
Look, that's right. And even the music itself is not set in stone. Some people look at classical music and say, oh, people go to concerts to hear the same pieces over and over. And look, it might be the same piece, but it's never played the same way.
Right.
And and look, that is part of the of artistic expression. And I think this whole element of artistry is so important in music. It's really not about playing the notes. It's about how you play the notes. What do the notes mean to you? And then you go deeper. It really is all about phrasing, because in music, phrasing is the ultimate human expression. And when you get the phrasing right, then you really do communicate the essence of what that piece is about.
Oh, that's very inspiring. Yeah, and I totally agree with that. I mean, like, one piece is like when you play the same piece like a couple of times, actually, it's okay to put your own personality on that music, if I'm not mistaken, and to make it like really personal, even though it's a classical
Yeah, look,
music.
I think that's very important. And I think the role of the teacher is to include the student's personality in their playing,
Wow.
but then give them sufficient guidance so they've actually got the essence of what the piece is about, because you don't want them to head in the wrong direction. So it becomes so personal it has no relationship to what the composer intended. But you always want to keep that personal element in the music. And sometimes that's something you can't teach. You know, when a student brings their own personality to the piece, then as a teacher, you really have fulfilled the ultimate goal, haven't you? To think that that child or that student feels comfortable enough to put themselves in the music. And then
Yeah.
your goal as a teacher is to then shape it a little bit more, to give it a little bit more refinement so it is still in keeping with the style.
Well, that was really fantastic. Like, yeah, it was very important, like, for the children to really continue learning music, even though in this kind of season. So, really, Mark, thank you very much for your time. It was a very great discussion.
Michelle, thanks so much for having me. It was great to be able to contribute.